And a very pleasant good afternoon, baseball fans, and welcome to another edition of Falcons Baseball on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com. The tour of Alaska continues today for the Falcons as they find themselves here in Anchorage at Mulcahy Stadium. My name is Josh Eldridge. Glad to be with you as the Falcons begin play at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. Their first opponent will be the South Anchorage Wolverines. The Falcons, of course, entering with a 14-3 overall record, coming fresh off a tournament win in Wasilla last night in the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament. Meantime, for South Anchorage, they enter in with a 7-6 overall record. They have won their last two games. It was a couple of wins back at the Lance Cos Wood Bat Tournament. That was in Kenai, Alaska, back over this past weekend. They've wrapped up there on Sunday. They've had a few days off before now coming here to play relatively close to home here in Anchorage at Great Mulcahy Stadium. Gives kind of Kiger Stadium vibes a little bit. Wooden grandstands. There's some bleachers down either line. It is an all-turf surface infield, and the turf actually extends down either foul line and a little bit past the cut of the what would be the outfield grass. It actually kind of extends. You get a little bit of a turfed outfield. It's only about 25, 30 feet past the base pad or past the bases, but it does go back there a little bit, and a beautifully fresh cut outfield. We are ready for baseball in just a few minutes as the Klamath Falls Falcons taking on South Anchorage in the first of what will be 4 games today here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. I'll only be with you for the Falcons games this week, but so thankful to be able to be brought to you live on MyBasin.com and 104.3 and 960 Sports by the great folks at Heartfelt OBGYN and the Eisler Group in Klamath Falls, the presenting sponsors of this specific trip to Alaska, and they'll join us as normal boosters throughout the rest of the summer for the Falcons. But this trip would not be possible without Heartfelt OBGYN or the Eisler Group in Klamath Falls. So because they support us, you should support them. As we get ready for first pitch, just a couple of minutes away, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll introduce you to the starting lineups for both teams and get ready for first pitch in Anchorage, Alaska at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
The cars we drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see 2 things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys, and I want to see my high school. And those are the 2 memories that stick out the most to me.
As a parent of a high school athlete, I've given up trying to get pictures of my kid playing sports. It's nearly impossible to take pictures and enjoy the game. There is a solution, though. God's Gifts Photography attends high school sporting events in the Basin to take individual and team action photos at a great price. Search God's Gifts 2 on Facebook to learn more. They'll come and capture your athlete in action, creating those frameable lifelong memories so you can watch and just enjoy the moment. Call 541-281-2206 to get your athlete on their schedule. God's Gifts Photography.
Well, first pitch fired right as we come onto the air today here in Anchorage, Alaska. The first pitch missed down and away to the leadoff hitter for the South Anchorage Wolverines. It's Braun Prokoski. He will take ball 2 down as well. On the mound for the Klamath Falls Falcons is Hayden Poor, but first I want to get out the starting lineup for this South Anchorage squad as Poor misses below the zone there. The count 3-0. After Prokosky in the order, it's Landon Gosser, the shortstop, batting second. The left fielder Caleb Bonin is in left field, hitting third. Jack Zuspin is at second base, hitting fourth. Batting fifth is Mark Warren in right field. Hitting sixth is Grayson Stanek at third base. Devin Berg is the catcher. He bats seventh, followed by the designated hitter Evan Baldwin, and the center fielder Logan Holtgest is batting ninth. A fly ball to right field is down for a single, and that is how the South Anchorage Wolverines will start the ball game with a leadoff single for Braun Prokosky. Like I said, for Hayden Poor getting the start today, we can take a look at him on the season. Hayden is making his fifth start of the summer, carries a 3-1 record, an ERA of 1.78 in 19 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up now 16 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned. He's walked 10 and struck out 19. His 19 strikeouts tied for second most on the team. As the first pitch is called a strike to Landon Gosser. Poor comes set and throws over towards first. Back safely is Prokosky. Klamath Falls Falcons, the home team today, and wearing their red jerseys with gray pants. A curveball is swung on and missed. On the move is Prokosky. He slides in safely at second. And so an 0-2 count at the plate to Landon Gosser, but Prokosky in scoring position here in the top of the first inning with nobody out. Caleb Bonin waits on deck for the Wolverines. Hayden Poor comes set, delivers to the shortstop for South Anchorage, goes outside with a fastball and got him looking for the first out in the first inning. Now batting is going to be Caleb Bonin for South Anchorage. They're in their off-white uniforms today. That's kind of a neat color, like cream color with black piping down the sides of their jersey and the sides of their pants. And South Anchorage written in black cursive text across their chest. As the first pitch into Bonin misses below the knees. The count is a ball and no strikes. Bonin's the team's second leading hitter, batting .367 this summer for Anchorage. His 12 RBI lead the team. And an RBI opportunity here in a 1-0 count. He'll take a fastball that misses off the plate. The count is 2-0 to Bonin. Caleb Bonin is class of 26 for South Anchorage. Stands 5'11", 185 pounds in the right-handed batter's box. And the pitch is going to find the zone. Hayden Poor goes off speed on that one, but finds the middle of the plate about knee-high to get back into this count. 2 balls and a strike to Caleb Bonin. About a 7-step lead off of second for Prokosky. As Poor comes set, checks on him, now delivers the pitch, goes change up and gets Bonin out in front. The count is even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's a wonderful day for baseball here at Mulcahy Stadium, 58 degrees in Anchorage, Alaska. Not much wind to speak of, but blue skies ahead as Poor gets the left fielder to chase on strike 3. Throw down to first on the dropped third strike, and Bonin is the second strikeout casualty here in the first inning. Going outside slider, got Bonin to chase, and now it's Jack Zuspin who's due up for the Wolverines. Zuspin, the cleanup hitter, starting at second base so far this season, batting .257 for South Anchorage. Zuspin stands tall in the right-handed batter's box, stands 6'1". That puts him as the second tallest player on the roster. Poor goes inside curveball for the strike and gets ahead of Zuspin to begin the at-bat. Runner still stands at second. It's Braun Prokosky. He led off this inning with a single. Connor Shiley, the shortstop, looking to keep him honest over there as Poor delivers the 0-1. It's a swinging strike, 0-2. Jacoby Tacchini is the starting catcher for the Falcons. P.J. Safford's at third with Connor Shively at short. Colin Tacchini's at second with Corbin Hamilton at first. In the outfield from left to right, it's Douglas, Price, and Sims. The pitch from Poor is fouled back into the glove of Tacchini, and that will be the end of the inning. After a leadoff single, Hayden Poor goes 3 straight strikeouts to get out of the first inning. And we'll go to the bottom half of the first, still scoreless. Live from Anchorage, Alaska on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Time to reclaim your health and your autonomy. At Heartfelt OBGYN, they focus on you. Their evidence-based approach to care means fewer office visits and a targeted treatment plan to directly address your specific needs. They believe in solutions for their patients, not the industry's profit margin. The providers at Heartfelt OBGYN are committed to serving the community and giving back to the basin. Find them at heartfeltobgyn.com. Heartfelt, because you deserve to be in control of your body and your informed choices.
At Eisler Group, they are confident that their tax and accounting professionals are experienced and trained like no one else. From individual, corporate, partnership, estate, trust, Eisler Group stands ready to help you with all of your financial, tax, and accounting needs. They have been in Klamath Falls for nearly 60 years, raising their families here and being part of the community. The Eisler Group can be found at eislerkf.com. That's ISLERKF.com. eislerkf.com.
It's the bottom of the first inning, still scoreless in game number 1 of the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic here in Anchorage. Klamath Falls Falcons then getting their first look at Will Preston. The Falcons lineup goes like this. Leading off, the center fielder Max Price, followed by the shortstop Connor Shively hitting second. Jacoby Takini is the catcher. He bats third. Colin Takini hits cleanup at second base. PJ Safford batting fifth at third base. Hitting sixth is Ian Meyer, the designated hitter. Batting seventh is Corbin Hamilton at first base. Carson Sims bats eighth in right field, and hitting ninth is Ryan Douglas in left field for the Falcons. Again, Will Preston, the right-hander on the hill for South Anchorage, making his first start of the summer for South Anchorage, but he does have 4 innings pitched in 4 relief appearances, and Max Price flares a base hit into right field on the very first pitch he sees, and so that is how the Falcons get things started in their first inning. Hasn't actually pitched more than 1 2/3 innings in a single game at all this year. Back on June 10th was his longest outing in relief. It was an inning and 2/3 against the Wasilla Road Warriors, where he gave up 3 hits and 6 runs. Now, since June 10th, he's only given up 1 run in his next, 2 1/3 innings. So he's straightened out a little bit here, but the Falcons got to him on the first at-bat, and now Shively gets ahead in the count 1-0. Connor Shively, left-handed bat for the Falcons, steps back in. Price a modest lead off of first, but they'll check on him anyway. Throw back over there, and he is safe. Looking at the season numbers for Shively, leading the team in hitting, batting .554 through his first 56 at-bats. Here he pops one up towards the left side, shallow left field. Coming in is the left fielder, Bonin. He will make the catch for the first out. And so this will bring up Jacoby Takini for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Of course, the Falcons coming fresh off a tournament win in Wasilla. They beat the Madisonville Rangers in the final 7-1. Madisonville is playing in this tournament. They won't play until the nightcap tonight. But Jacoby Takini had a single in that championship game. He was also hit by a pitch and walked, so reaching base a few times. And the only time he didn't reach base was when he laid down a sacrifice bunt. So even though he only came away with 1 hit, still can't feel too bad about that performance. As the pitch misses downstairs, the throw down to try to get Price, who's on the move, is not in time. Max now into scoring position, and the count is 1-0 to Jacoby Takini. On deck after Jacoby is Colin Takini for the Falcons. Looking at Jacoby so far this summer, batting .286 for the Falcons. And the delivery on the way from Preston is an upstairs fastball, maybe a touch outside as well. The count is 2-0 to Jacoby Takini. Like I said, this will be the first of 4 games today played at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. The pitch to Takini is a curveball. That time it finds its way through the zone. The count 2 balls and a strike. After our game is concluded, scheduled for a 2:15 start is... I believe South Anchorage playing back-to-back games. They'll play Chugiak at 2:15. This pitch is on its way. It's a swing and a miss from Takini. The count is 2-2. And that would make sense since South doesn't play on the last day of the tournament. But then you got Service playing Diamond at 5 o'clock, and West Anchorage plays that Madisonville team in our nightcap tonight at 7:30. That's Alaskan Daylight Time, which would be 8:30 back in the basin. This pitch comes in and hits Takini on the 2-2. Got him on the back. He will get on base there, and as the catcher, he'll be afforded a courtesy runner. We'll see who they come on out with, as it'll bring up Colin Takini. Jacoby's been hit quite a bit lately in these past couple of games. He does lead the team in being hit by a pitch. He just got plunked for the 8th time this season as Chase Barrett comes on in and runs for him over there at first. So Price aboard at second, Barrett on at first, one away in the bottom of the first inning, and it brings up Colin Takini. Takini bats .417 on the season for the Falcons. First offering underway from Preston. Price is on the move to third. The throw down is not going to be in time. Barrett, a delayed steal, winds up at second. And so a double steal there for the Falcons puts 2 men in scoring position for their cleanup hitter, Colin Takini. He's been pitching well as of late through 6 innings against Madisonville in the tournament championship game. That was yesterday. And P.J. Safford came in, got the final out of that contest, but a good outing for Takini. Picked up his 2nd win on the hill of the season in that game last night against Madisonville. The 2-strike offering to Takini winds up in the dirt, and the count is a ball and 2 strikes. After Colin, well, it is P.J. Safford who's on deck for the Falcons. South Anchorage participating in this tournament every year. They are beginning the journey for hoping for their 2nd title in tournament history as Colin Takini takes an outside curveball for strike 3. He'll go down looking as the 2nd out in the 1st inning. South Anchorage won their first and only Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Tournament title in 2018. Won the championship game against a team from Minnesota 4-0 that year. As the first pitch into P.J. Safford called a strike, looked to be a changeup, something off speed that ran in the middle, about belt high, inside, maybe a bit off the plate, but Safford falls behind 0-1 in the count. Here's the delivery, misses wide. Safford now evens the count at a ball and a strike. If this inning continues, it's Ian Meyer who waits on deck for the Falcons. Safford, Klamath Union High School, awaits the pitch. He watches that one miss low and away. The count is 2-1. Safford last night in the championship game was 0 for 2, but he did walk twice and score a run in that contest. And like I said, was on the mound, struck out the side in the 7th inning to help the Falcons to that victory. As the throw to get Safford is going to be in time, but it takes the first baseman off the bag, and nobody is out. It was a ground ball to third that scored Price. Advancing to third is Chase Barrett, and Safford is aboard on the error. And the Falcons strike first, up 1-0. To begin this game at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic, there will be 2 outs for Ian Meyer batting now for the Falcons. There's just a ground ball to Stanek at third. He looked the runner Barrett back to second before throwing to first, but the throw took Prokowski off the bag as it looked like he tried to rush it a little bit. Safford taken off for second after the first pitch, misses low and away, and getting into scoring position. Falcons staying aggressive on the base paths as they've done all summer long. Now still 2 men in scoring position for Ian Meyer, who rattles that one foul. Count a ball and a strike. Meyer batting .364 this season for the Klamath Falls Falcons. With runners in scoring position hitting .385. He is 5 for 13 in these situations as Meyer awaits the delivery from Will Preston. Line drive over the head of the shortstop and into left field. That's going to score Barrett. P.J. Safford is waved in. He will score as well. And a 2-out, 2 RBI single for Ian Meyer gives the Falcons a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. Meyer on that at-bat, knocking in RBI number 12 and 13, and picking up his 13th hit of the summer. And a big one there. It was just out of reach of Gosser at short. He leapt in the air, but just out of reach of his glove. As now it'll be Corbin Hamilton, a chance to swing the bat as he rattles one foul. The count is 0-1 now to Corbin Hamilton. Had a 2 RBI single himself in the 5th inning of the championship game against Madisonville last night. Even in the 16-4 loss against Madisonville yesterday in the final game of group play, Hamilton finished 1 for 3. Count now a ball and a strike to Corbin, getting the start at first base today for the Falcons. They'll go around the diamond for South Anchorage here after the 1-1 pitch. Here it comes from Hamilton, misses down and in, gets away from the catcher Berg for just a moment, allowing Meyer to advance to second. So Berg is catching, Stanek at third, Gosser at short with Zuspin at second. Prokosky plays first. In the outfield from left to right, it's Bodden, Holtgeist, and Warren. Hamilton awaits the pitch from Preston, swings and misses at the off-speed pitch. Looked to be a curveball there from Preston. Hamilton chased it beneath the zone. The count is even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes, with Ian Meyer standing at second. Here's the pitch to Hamilton. He chases the outside slider for strike 3. That will end the inning, but not before the Falcons score 3 on 2 base hits in the inning, and they leave one stranded. A 3-0 lead going to the top of the second next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Introducing Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, your trusted partner in marketing and communication. We specialize in crafting compelling campaigns, eye-catching graphics, and impactful branding materials.
Smith Bates is like working with dependable friends. They always help us build our professional image.
Through the innovative strategies that the team at Smith Bates suggested, we've been able to give the brand at Calor the boost that it desperately needed.
Unlock your potential with Smith Bates Marcom Solutions.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends. Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Josh Eldridge back with you live from Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. The Klamath Falls Falcons lead after 1 inning of play in their first game of the 5-2-9 Midseason Classic, up 3-0 against South Anchorage. Want to again thank our tournament sponsors, our tournament broadcast sponsors, that being Heartfelt, OBGYN, and Klamath Falls, and the Eisler Group. Without them, wouldn't be able to be on the air today. Be sure to look them up online and check them out on Facebook. Be sure to support those folks because they supported us to get here to Alaska and bring you this content as the Falcons lead 3-0. First pitch is a sharp ground ball to the right side of the infield, off the glove of Hamilton, picked up by Takini. Poor tried to get there to cover in time, but it's not going to be there. And Mark Warren leads off the top of the second inning with a base hit for South Anchorage, and this will bring up Grayson Stanek. Now, the Wolverines got a base hit in the first at-bat of the first inning, but as Prokosky advanced to second, they weren't able to get anything going. Hayden Poor struck out 3 straight hitters after that leadoff single. Of course, South Anchorage looking for better fortunes here, trying to lay down a bunt, but it gets popped up foul. The count is 0-1. Well, as the Klamath Falls Falcons are coming off a tournament championship in Wasilla last night, South Anchorage, back on Sunday, were the third-place team out of the Lance Cause Woodbat tournament in Kenai, Alaska. They had to defeat Juneau 11-4 in that contest to claim third place. Like I said, it was Madisonville who won that tournament championship 2-0. South Anchorage, when they played Madisonville, as we kind of go around shared opponents between these two teams, it was Madisonville who defeated South Anchorage 3-1 as that pitch misses inside. The count of ball and 2 strikes. Now, again, the Falcons split with Madisonville yesterday, first losing 16-4 before winning the championship game 7-1. So take that as you will. Here's the curveball that Poor missed upstairs with. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes to Grayson Stanek. Stanek on the season for South Anchorage is batting .348. He is the team's third leading hitter. He takes a fastball high and runs the count full against Hayden Poor, 3-2. Stanek, the team's third leading hitter, but he is also second on the team in runs scored this season with 8. Here comes the delivery from Poor. Runner on the move. Warren takes off for second, but the pitch is fouled off, and so he'll have to head on back. The count is still 3-2. Max Price playing fairly shallow in center field. Straightaway center field is 400 feet. Learned that from the program that was put together for this tournament. There's no actual designation for how deep it is down left field or right field. No numbers on the fence or anything. But I do know that straightaway center is 400 feet. Count remains 3-2 to Grayson Stanek. And Poor delivers the pitch, goes inside changeup, and that'll be strike 3 swinging for Stanek. 4 strikeouts for Hayden Poor in this game so far. He's gotten 4 outs. He's been throwing well, mixed up his pitch count or his pitch speed and location well. Even though he missed upstairs with a couple breaking balls in that last at-bat, going inside and down with the changeup, caused Stanek to chase. Here's an inside pitch that's ripped down to Safford at third. Goes on to Tacchini for 1. The throw on to first is not going to be in time. So Berg reaches on a fielder's choice. There are 2 outs in the inning. Safford had to play the hot corner there real quick. That ball kind of skipped on him. He wound up sliding for it on his knee. And as it was about to bounce over his head, he picked it out and threw on to second for 1. But again, that was all the Falcons would get, as Berg is aboard at first, as Evan Baldwin steps in for South Anchorage. Batting from the right side is the designated hitter Baldwin. He stands 6 foot tall, 235 in the right-handed batter's box as he fouls one back. The count is 0-1 to Devin Berg. He'll be class of 28 for South Anchorage. Like I said, it's 6 foot, 235. And he's still got room to grow after only just finishing up his freshman season here in Anchorage. Two-seam fastball was inside, maybe a bit upstairs. The count is a ball and a strike to Baldwin. Up next is Logan Holtquist, and he is on deck as that pitch is a curveball and a nicely placed curveball by Poor, inside corner for the strike. And now the count is 1-2. Poor set, decent lead off of first for Berg. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to Safford at third. Fields it cleanly. Short hops Hamilton at first, and he can't come up with it. And now no one's covering third. And so that'll put runners at the corners now with 2 outs. Hamilton usually a sure thing on that play. It short hopped him. He didn't try to go out and grab it. He let it bounce to him, but couldn't squeeze it. And that will extend this inning for Logan Holtquist. It'll probably be an E3. It was a playable ball for Hamilton. I have to see how that winds up being scored. But regardless, Berg advancing to third, Baldwin aboard at first, and now Holtquist an RBI opportunity here after looking down and getting the signs from the head coach, Terry Dannenbring, for South Anchorage. Poor starts him out with a curveball that's a ground ball into left field, and a run will come in to score on the RBI single for Logan Holtquist. Advancing to second on that play was Baldwin, and South Anchorage is on the board. They still trail a new score of 3-1. I think that, again, that one against Hamilton was scored as an E3, and so that's what I'll put in my book here. And now it's back to the top of the order for Bron Prokoski for the Wolverines. He swings and misses at strike 1. As this inning continues, that run that came across against Hayden Poor unearned, as will the rest of the runs, if there are any more to come in this inning, as that error happened with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. It misses down and in. The count is a ball and a strike to Bron Prokoski. Like I said, he singled in the first inning, but that was the only offense South Anchorage got in that frame. Scoring a single run here off the RBI from Holtquist. Tacchini gives the target, sets up outside. The pitch misses well outside, trying to backdoor the runner at first, and they got him. Holtquist with a huge secondary lead, and Tacchini made him pay for it, and that is how the Falcons escape the second inning. Still holding on to a 2-run lead, 3-1 as we go to the bottom half. Next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
the innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 120,000 participants here in Oregon who take part in high school sports or activities.
At MyBasin.com, we bring you the power of local radio,
the pace and reach of social media,
the information of 24-hour news,
and the excitement of local sports.
We do this with a team of radio professionals that is second to none.
Klamath Falls is a community that we love and a place that we are proud to call home.
Klamath Falls deserves a media group that is as committed to you as you are to Klamath Falls.
MyBasin.com is your go-to place for news,
sports, events, and everything going on at home in Klamath Falls.
Josh Eldridge back with you live from Anchorage, Alaska on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com. Bottom of the second inning, and the Klamath Falls Falcons lead the South Anchorage Wolverines 3-1. Due up this half for the Falcons, it's going to be Carson Sims, Ryan Douglas, and Max Price. That's 8, 9, and 1 in the order for the Falcons as Sims gets ready to step in. Wolverines scored a single run in the top half of this inning. The Falcons looking to get it back with Sims leading off. He had a base hit in the championship game last night against Madisonville. Finished that contest 1 for 3. Sims settles in against Will Preston, class of 2027 here in South Anchorage. Sims' first pitch swinging, and it's a line drive into center field for a base hit. And that's how we get things going for the Falcons in the second inning, a leadoff single. In fact, that makes now 4 consecutive half innings with a leadoff single combined between these two teams, swinging early and often. And this will bring up Ryan Douglas now for the Falcons. Douglas was 2 for 3 with an RBI in the win last night against Madisonville. First pitch swinging for him, a fly ball into center field. That is going to get down in front of the center fielder, Holtquist. And back-to-back singles for the Falcons is how we get started in the second inning. Back to the top of the order now for Max Price. Price 1 for 1 with a run scored in this game. He was hitless in the win against the Rangers last night and was also hitless in the final game of group play. But against the Alaska teams, Wasilla and Palmer in the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament, Price played very well as he fouls off the first pitch here, the count 0-1. Against Wasilla, Max Price finished 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. And against Palmer, he finished 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored and an RBI. So safe to say he's seeing the ball pretty well against the squads from Alaska. Right now, the corner's in, protecting bunt. Price lays down a bunt down the third base side. Everyone's going to be safe. And a perfectly placed bunt down the third base side loads him up for Connor Shively. Sims advances to third, Douglas to second, and Price with his second hit of the day. Shively's 0 for 1 in this contest, but batting .554 on the season for the Falcons. Left-handed hitter a chance to add to their lead. First pitch swing, and that's going to get down and could score a couple. In is Sims. Douglas is going to have the break slammed down him at third. Probably good as a strong throw-in from Holtquist from center field, but an RBI single makes the Falcons lead 4-1 as Douglas to third, Price to second, and Shively aboard after the RBI. Here's Jacoby Tacchini, who was hit by a pitch in his first time around, but Chase Barrett, who runs for him, came in to score, so it was productive there for Tacchini. Pitch to him is a curveball. That's going to get down and another base hit, this time into left field. Here they go, waving in Max Price. The throw to get Price. He slides in safely, and a 2 RBI single for Jacoby Tacchini extends the Falcons' lead to 6-1. As Douglas scored, Price scored, Shively stayed at second, and a 2 RBI single for Jacoby Tacchini. Well, this will trigger a mound visit for South Anchorage. Gives us another opportunity to highlight our sponsors for our trip to Alaska. That's Heartfelt OBGYN and the Eisler Group in Klamath Falls. It was up in the air whether or not we'd be able to come to Alaska at all, at least the broadcasting portion of it. The team knew they were going to come a while ago, but up in the air up until about a week and a half before this trip was going to be taken. And thanks to the Eisler Group and Heartfelt OBGYN, able to bring these games to you live, whether you're listening on the radio on 104.3 and 960 Sports or on mybasin.com. Want to thank you for joining us, and be sure to support the Eisler Group and Heartfelt OBGYN in Klamath Falls because they've supported us this week. So Colin Tacchini getting ready to step in now. Already 3 runs home this half for the Falcons and 2 more out there on base. Connor Shively's at second. Chase Barrett's aboard at first. And the first pitch to Tacchini gets away from the catcher. Both runners advance. Shively to third. Barrett to second. Tacchini's 0 for 1 in the contest. He struck out back in the first inning. On the season, hitting .417 for the Falcons. Now 2 men in scoring position for him. As he rolls a ground ball down the third base side, it is going to be fielded by the third baseman, Stanek. They go home with it on the hard ground ball to third, and they cut down Shively trying to score. He is the first out in the inning. But advancing to third is Chase Barrett. Colin Tacchini reaches on the fielder's choice. And not a bad idea by Stanek to try to cut down that lead runner. It was a 2-hopper down to third, hit pretty hard, and so was able to cut down Shively before he scores. Now it's P.J. Safford who reached on an error and scored in the first inning. Bats here with runners at the corners. Runner from first is on the move. Colin Tacchini is going to get in there safely. 2 men in scoring position now for P.J. Safford. On the season, Safford's total hitting .321 for the Falcons this season as Preston comes set with the pitch. The 1-0 pitch is going to miss low. The count now 2-0 to Safford. PJ with runners in scoring position this season, batting .414 with runners in scoring position. As a team, the Falcons bat .431 in situations like this. Here's the pitch. It misses upstairs to Safford. He gets ahead 3-0. Ian Meyer is on deck for Klamath Falls. Infield is in for South Anchorage. They're going to want to cut down the lead runner again on a ground ball in the infield, but Safford's going to take a curveball that misses low in a 3-0 count and work a walk and get on base for the second time today. So Safford at first, Colin Tacchini at second, Chase Barrett at third. And here comes Ian Meyer, already 1 for 1 with 2 RBI in the contest. He's talking about hitting with runners in scoring position. Meyer is 6 for 14 in these spots this season as he takes an outside curveball, 1-0. Meyer's been very solid this trip to Alaska for the Falcons. So he awaits the 1-0 pitch. Here it comes. That one hit him on the front knee. That looked like it probably hurt pretty good, but what makes it hurt a lot less is that you get an RBI for that effort. As a run comes in to score, making it 7-1 Falcons. Chase Barrett in, Tacchini to third, P.J. Safford to second, and here comes Corbin Hamilton stepping in now for the Falcons. Hamilton struck out in his only at-bat so far. That was back in the first inning. Here's the first pitch. Misses inside. Count is 1-0. Looks like we've had someone warming up out there in the bullpen for South Anchorage. Wouldn't be surprised if they wound up making a move here soon. Already 7 runs scored for the Falcons in the second inning, and they still have the bases loaded. Count is 2-0 to Corbin Hamilton. I was talking about these guys from South Anchorage, a fairly young squad. Like I said, their pitcher, Will Preston, he's class of 29, and so he is going to be a freshman next season as he gets behind 3-0. Real young man, 5'8", 120 pounds. And the Falcons getting to him a bit here in the first game of the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. Another walk will score another run. And see head coach Dannon Bring making his way out of the dugout for the second time this inning and that will spark change for the South Anchorage Wolverines. Right now, the Klamath Falls Falcons lead 8-1, and when we come back, it'll be Carson Sims. Want to make sure that this is going to be a change. As coach takes the ball, yes, we will step aside after that walk from Hamilton. The score is 8-1. The Klamath Falls Falcons lead the South Anchorage Wolverines at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
We drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see two things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys and I want to see my high school. And those are the two memories that stick out the most to me.
Getting set for the bottom of the second inning as it continues on. A new pitcher for South Anchorage will be Ian Langerman, 6'2", class of 2028 for the South Anchorage Wolverines. So far this season for Langerman, this will be his 7th game pitched. He does have 2 starts on the year and a 2-0 record. He also has 1 save in 1 attempt. Through 14 2/3 innings, he's given up 19 hits, 12 runs, 9 of them earned. He's walked 17 batters, opposed to 8 strikeouts, an ERA of 4.29. And his first task will be Carson Sims. Now, Sims led off this inning with a single, and he came around to score. He'll bat here with the bases loaded. Standing at first is Corbin Hamilton. Ian Myers at second, and P.J. Safford is at third. The Falcons have already scored 5 runs in this frame, and Sims will rattle 1 foul down the third base line. The count is 0-1. Langerman, like I said, class of 28, so just wrapped up his freshman season in South Anchorage. These Wolverines are a young team, much like the Klamath Falls Falcons. I think you could make a case that they're actually quite a bit younger than the Klamath Falls Falcons, as Sims lifts a lazy fly ball into right field. The right fielder, Warren, makes the catch. Tagging from third to score is P.J. Safford, and he will. A sacrifice fly and an RBI for Carson Sims is the second out in the inning. But advancing to third as well was Ian Meyer. Corbin Hamilton stayed put at first. And this will bring up Ryan Douglas, who's also 1 for 1 in the ball game, and he singled earlier this inning. In fact, there is a couple of players. Dawson Nerland, haven't seen him out here yet, but he is on the roster. Class of 2030 for South Anchorage, which means he's going to be an 8th grader. I'm not sure what the age limit is for how young you can be playing Legion baseball, but that is the youngest player I've seen. Class of 2030. Again, he's not in the game. Don't know if he'll get playing time, but he is on the official program roster here at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. Ryan Douglas was hit by a pitch, and so he's aboard at first. That will load the bases. Hamilton to second. Still at third is Ian Meyer. And the first pitch into Max Price is a strike, 0-1. Price has singled in each of his first 2 plate appearances. Here's the delivery from Langerman. It misses below the knees to Price. The count is even now at a ball and a strike. Falcons already out to a 9-1 advantage here in the bottom of the second inning. Pitch on the way is going to miss upstairs. The count is 2-1 to Max Price. Well, the Falcons were the first Oregonian team to ever win the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament. Second Oregonian team to ever win the Todd Ryan Memorial Classic, joining Eugene from 2023. Eugene is also the only team from Oregon to ever win this tournament as well, also doing that in 2023 when they defeated Eagle River 4-1 in the title game. So the Falcons trying to, they're off to a good start, at least if the first 2 innings are any indication, up 9-1 against South Anchorage. Last year, tournament champion was Napoleon of Ohio, who's actually won this event 3 out of the last 4 years. Here's a fly ball to left field off the bat of Price. Making the catch by the foul line is Bonin to retire the side. But the Falcons score 6 runs in this inning, and they take a 9-1 lead to the top of the third. You've got Falcons baseball live from Anchorage, Alaska on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
Klamath Falls Falcons out to a 9-1 advantage as we get set for the top of the third inning. Due up this inning for South Anchorage, it'll be Braun Prokoski, Landon Gosser, and Caleb Bonin. That's the top of the order for South Anchorage as they look to start chipping away against Hayden Poor for the Falcons. Now, Braun Prokoski is 1 for 1 in this ball game, but he also got to see a couple pitches at the end of the second inning as it was a pickoff move to first from the catcher Takini, which ended that inning. But Prokoski got to see an extra 2-3 pitches before that pickoff move happened. So see if he learned a thing or two about Hayden Poor. South Anchorage is hoping he has, trying to get on base to start this third inning. The first pitch to Prokoski missed low, and the second pitch was a slider that missed outside. So the count is now 2-0 to Prokoski, leading the team in hitting, batting .400 for South Anchorage, as a fly ball to center field is going to move Price back a few steps, but he settles underneath it to make the out, the first out in the third inning. It'll bring up Landon Gosser. Gosser is 0 for 1 today for South Anchorage. He struck out in the first inning. Gosser, class of 2028 for the South Anchorage Wolverines. Again, a lot of these guys just coming out of their freshman or sophomore years. Here's a deeper fly ball to center field. Price has to go back a bit deeper, but he makes the catch quickly. 2 gone here in the third. And that will bring up Caleb Bonin, who is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout as well. That was back in the first inning. And this team, like I said, keep continuing to say they're pretty young, but as a high school group, imagining most of these guys played with South Anchorage during the prep season this year. They had a great year. They finished 21-5, and were actually the 5th best team in the state of Alaska, as this one is going to miss, it's going to be a swing and a miss, and the count is 0-1 to Bonin. Here he takes an inside fastball. The count is 0-2. Now, South Anchorage got to the state tournament where they lost the quarterfinal to Sitka. That game was 3-1, played back on June 5th. There's a curveball. Poor finds the zone, a ball and 2 strikes. As Poor delivers the pitch, it's a fly ball to left field this time. Douglas back 1 or 2 steps, catch is made, and that will end the inning. The Wolverines down in order in the top of the third inning. The Falcons will carry an 8-run advantage to the bottom of the third. Back after this on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars, there are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
Klamath Falls Falcons getting ready for the bottom of the third inning. They lead 9-1 against the South Anchorage Wolverines. It'll be Connor Shively, Jacoby Takini, and Colin Takini due up this half for the Falcons as they have swung the bat well. That's to say the very least so far. 9 runs on 7 hits so far for the Falcons. All right, Ian Langerman getting ready to deliver to Shively. Misses inside, maybe a bit high as well. The count is 1-0 to Shively, who's 1 for 2 in the ball game today. He flew out in the first, but had an RBI single in the second inning. Pitch to Shively will miss down and in, gets ahead in the count 2-0. Well, the Falcons certainly have a history of swinging the bat well at this tournament here in Anchorage, although they've only been here one time. That's how much of an impression they've left on this tournament. The pitch to Shively is a fly ball to center field. Moving over is Holtquist. Makes the catch on the run for the first out. It'll bring up Jacoby Takini, the starting catcher for the Falcons. Flash you back to the year 2000 when now assistant coach Craig Connor was the head coach of the Klamath Falls Falcons. Was telling me that was the one time that he was able to take the kids here to Anchorage when he was the head coach. And, well, there's a couple of highlights for former Falcons players. Well, just really one Falcons player in the record book here at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic as Jacoby Takini takes a slider low and away for ball 1. Takini 1 for 1 with a couple of RBIs already in the contest. And he hits one in the air, right side, looks playable behind first base. The first baseman, Prokoski, unable to make the play. It was in and out of his glove, and Jacoby Takini reaching base there. And that will bring up Colin Takini. It's a tough ball to get to, but Prokoski got a glove on it. And we'll see how exactly they wind up scoring that play. I would probably go with the air, but we'll find out here in just a moment for sure. As Colin Takini steps in, I want to continue my thought about the 2000 Falcons squad. After the first pitch to Takini, missed in the dirt. Chase Barrett, who's in running for Takini, is going to advance to second on that pitch. The count now 1-0 to Colin. And Colin is 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a fielder's choice and a run scored in the second inning. Set is Langerman on the mound as he looks in and gets the sign from Berg. A decent lead off a second for Barrett and the delivery home. Takini checks his swing on a pitch that misses inside, 2-0. In 2000, Brian Kinsman of Klamath Falls, Oregon, won the Big Stick Award here at the 529 Midseason Classic. As the pitch to Takini finds the zone outside. Looked like an outside slider, but that one caught just the corner of the zone. Enough for Langerman to battle back into the at-bat. Still trailing Takini 2-1. The second baseman, Zuspin, over there to keep Barrett honest. And now the pitch is going to bounce to the plate and get behind the catcher. That's going to allow Barrett to advance to third. And the count will be 3-1 to Colin Takini. Now, when Brian Kinsman won the Big Stick Award here in Anchorage, it was helped in large part when he hit for the cycle in that year. He's still the only player in tournament history to ever hit for the cycle in a game here in Anchorage. As pitch on the way to Colin Takini came in and hit him, and so he will be awarded first and that will bring up P.J. Safford, third Falcons player who's been hit by a pitch today. Safford is 0 for 1, but he scored 2 runs today as he gets ready to step in. He reached on an error in the first inning, and then he walked in the second inning. Like I said, came around to score each time. Here he bats with 1 away and runners at the corners. Can anticipate Colin Tacchini will be on the move here. We'll see if South Anchorage has anything going. Nope. No movement for Colin Tacchini. A ground ball up the middle. Gosser has trouble with it. And Safford reaching and a run scoring as the Falcons now lead 10-1. Advancing to second on the play was Tacchini. P.J. Safford again reaching on the error. Second time today he's done that, but scores a run in that effort. No RBI, unfortunately, for Safford, but he is on base, and it will bring up Ian Meyer. Just wanted to finish my thought on Brian Kinsman as Meyer steps in here. Runner on the move to third, line drive to short. Trying to play on a hop was Gosser. Misplayed it. The throw on to first is going to be over the head of the first baseman and out of play. So that's going to allow Chase Barrett to score. Tacchini has to hold at at third. Safford going to second, I believe. No, Safford is all the way to third. Tacchini must have come in to score. Pardon me. Lost track of the base runners there for a second as Meyer scores on the error. Meyer reaches on the error, and Hamilton is aboard at first. Just trying to make sure my book is all right here. So we got runners in scoring position for Hamilton, and still just 1 out. He fouls off the first pitch. The count is 0-1. To hit for the cycle, Kinsman needed an inside the park home run in the year 2000, but singled in the first inning of that game, a double, that home run, and then a triple in the sixth as that pitch misses upstairs to Hamilton. 1-1. Like I said, the only player in tournament history to hit for the cycle. 1-1. The count to Corbin Hamilton. It's a curveball that he rips down the left field line fair. Safford is going to score from third. They are waving in Meyer, and he scores. A 2 RBI single for Corbin Hamilton makes it 12-1 Falcons. Is still with 1 out at the bottom of the third. It will bring up Carson Sims. Sims is 1 for 1 today. He singled in the second inning. Later on in the second inning, he had a sacrifice fly and earned an RBI. Here he takes the first pitch in the zone for a strike. Might have been off speed on the outside corner. Sims falls behind to Ian Langerman, 0-1. Langerman squares up to home plate before coming set, closes up his body and delivers the pitch. Sims sends a high fly ball down the left field side foul, and the count is 0-2 to Sims. After Sims in the Falcons order, it's Ryan Douglas. Runner aboard at first is Corbin Hamilton, and the Falcons have already added 4 more runs here in the third inning. Pitch on the way. It's a curveball that misses high and in. Count a ball and 2 strikes to Carson. The Falcons did not win the championship at this tournament in 2000. The one other year they were here as Sims lines a base hit into right field. That's going to roll forever. The right fielder was playing in the gap in center field. That's going to score Hamilton all the way from first. Sims into second. And 2 more runs come in to score. It is now 14-1. And the Falcons remain in front after the RBI double from Carson Sims. Douglas now batting with a runner in scoring position. Weak fly ball to right field. Coming in is the right fielder Warren. He will make the catch for the out. Now 2 away in the inning. And still at second base is Carson Sims after his double. It brings up Max Price for the first time this inning, but for the fourth time this game, he is 2 for 3 already with a couple of singles and 2 runs scored in that effort. Wanted to continue my thought about the 2000 tournament here at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. Like I said, the one year the Falcons came here, they did have the Big Stick Award winner in Brian Kinsman, but they were not able to claim the tournament championship that year. It was Lewiston, Idaho, who had defeated Fraser Valley from Canada 5-2 in the tournament championship. The 1-0 pitch misses low. The count now 2-0 to Max Price, off to a good start today, as are the rest of the Falcons, who lead 14-1. Pitch on the way is fouled straight back. The count is 2-1. On deck is Connor Shively, who got this inning started. Price, only the batting glove on his lower hand, settles back in for the 2-1. Set is Langerman. And the pitch. High fly ball left field. Bonin going back towards the warning track, but makes the catch for the third out. But the Falcons score 5 more runs, and they lead 14-1. So we go to the top of the fourth at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
So lonely, I just sigh and moan. Seems like I've been waiting forever, wondering if you're coming home. I just saw your face, I know you're coming home. I swear there is no place and then I heard your voice. I know you're coming home. I know you're coming home.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Score is 14-1, and the Klamath Falls Falcons lead the South Anchorage Wolverines. So we get set for the top of the fourth inning. It's going to be Hayden Poor continuing his start against Jack Zuspit, who is 0 for 1 today. He struck out back in the first inning. Fly ball left center field. That one is going to wind up in the glove of Ryan Douglas. Had to run quite a long way to bring that one in, but does so successfully and puts away the out. Mark Warren getting ready to step in now for South Anchorage. Got quite the mountain to climb, and better to start here in the fourth inning than trying to leave it all up to the fifth. As that pitch misses outside, 1-0. Play a 2-hour and 15 time limit, 10-run mercy rule after 5 innings here at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. As a high fly ball into foul territory left side. That one is going to get down in foul territory, and the count is 1-1. The Falcons right now have that mercy rule advantage, but Anchorage trying to battle back. Again, they haven't had much success on the offensive end today. They've got 3 hits in the contest. Here's the pitch. Line drive to the second baseman by the diving glove of Takini and into center field. And Mark Warren now 2 for 2 today. Had a single in the second inning and added another there. He's aboard at first with 1 out in the inning. It'll bring up Grayson Stanek, who is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. He went down in the second inning. First of 4 games for the folks here today at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. Like I said, South will have a chance to get back right against Chugiak a little bit later on. Of course, they still have time today, but Hayden Poor loops in a ball. The count is 1-0. So Chugiak at 2:15 plays South Anchorage, and then at 5 o'clock Service plays Diamond, and then at 7:30 West plays Madisonville. West Anchorage playing the Madisonville Rangers from Kentucky. Madisonville in Pool A The Falcons are in Pool B, so the only time we'd be able to see them again, which would be the third time on the trip to Alaska, would be if they wind up getting seeded similarly on Sunday. As Sunday, there are also 4 games. There's a 5th-place game, 2 semifinal games, and a title game. Here's the pitch. It is called a strike. The count 3-0, a fastball. Finds the zone to Stanek as Poor battling back. Takini delivers the sign to Hayden, who comes set. And the pitch misses high and in, and that'll be a walk. It'll move Warren over to second. And that walk delivered to Stanek is the first walk surrendered by Hayden Poor this game. And we'll bring up Devin Berg, who is 0 for 1 today, reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning. First pitch on the way to Berg is sent in the air, shallow center field. Price comes in, it drops in front of him. Throw to second, but in safely is Stanek. He was at first, took pause, waiting for that ball to either be caught or dropped. Got about halfway there when that ball dropped. Had to really get on his horse to be there safely. Good idea by Price to try to get him there, but the bases are loaded. As it brings up Evan Baldwin. Warren to third, Stanek at second, Berg at first. And here is Evan Baldwin. He reached on an error in the second inning. Was left stranded at second base in that inning as well as Poor comes set. Here's the pitch. Fisted out towards second. Takini gloves it. Tries to beat the runner at second back to the bag, but can't do it. So just a line out. They tried to go for 2 there, but now there are 2 away for Logan Holtquist. Bases remain loaded for the center fielder for South Anchorage. He is 1 for 1 today with an RBI back in the second inning. In that inning, he drove in Devin Berg and then was picked off at first later in that frame. Here's the first offering to him. Misses downstairs. The count is 1-0 to Holtquist. Holtquist is class of 26 for South Anchorage. Be a senior next year as that pitch misses inside. The count is 2-0. Well, I was talking about South Anchorage's prep season this past spring, and like I said, they finished 21-5. They were 5th place in the Alaska State rankings according to MaxPreps.com. Here's the pitch. It misses low, and the count now 3-0. Well, they made it to the quarterfinals, and here in Alaska, they actually do double elimination, similar to how the basketball and volleyball tournaments are run in the state of Oregon. As that pitch is called a strike, the count is now 3-1. So you go into a quarterfinal, and then there's a consolation tournament that happens at the same time as the 3-1 pitch from Hayden Poor will find the zone. It's a fastball about knee-high on the outside corner, and the count runs full. 3-2 and 2 outs with the bases loaded. South Anchorage lost in their quarterfinal, and then they lost in their consolation bracket as well to Diamond 9-4. That ended their season. As the pitch misses outside in a full count, walking in a run, Warren will touch home and score. Stanek to third, Berg to second, and Holtquist walks in, give him an RBI. He's got both runs batted in for South Anchorage today. As the Falcons are going to be making a change. It looks like they're ready to tap in Max Price with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning. We'll see if the Falcons come away with any other changes as we step aside briefly and work all the things out. Right now, the Falcons lead 14-2, but in the top of the 4th inning, South Anchorage has the bases loaded. We'll be back in just a moment on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Time to reclaim your health and your autonomy. At Heartfelt OBGYN, they focus on you. Their evidence-based approach to care means fewer office visits and a targeted treatment plan to directly address your specific needs. They believe in solutions for their patients, not the industry's profit margin. The providers at Heartfelt OBGYN are committed to serving the community and giving back to the basin. Find them at heartfeltobgyn.com. Heartfelt, because you deserve to be in control of your body and your informed choices.
At Eisler Group, they are confident that their tax and accounting professionals are experienced and trained like no one else. From individual, corporate, partnership, estate, trust, Eisler Group stands ready to help you with all of your financial, tax, and accounting needs. They have been in Klamath Falls for nearly 60 years, raising their families here and being part of the community. The Eisler Group can be found at eislerkf.com. That's ISLERKF.com. eislerkf.com.
Okay, changes in for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Max Price now on the hill for the Falcons. I want to say it was Pimley who came into the game. We'll make sure of that here in just a moment as I check with the official scores. It was actually Hunter Glidden who's come into the game, it looks like. And Ryan Glidden out there as well. So Max Price will take a statistical outlook at him right now as he'll inherit a situation with the bases loaded, but Max Price has still yet to allow an earned run this season. He's got a 1-0 record. This will be his fourth appearance of the summer. In his previous 6 innings pitched, he's given up 2 hits, walked 1, and struck out 4. At the top of the order, it's Braun Prokoski due up for South Anchorage. And here's the pitch. It will miss low. The count is 1-0. So an entirely new outfield for the Klamath Falls Falcons here in the 4th inning. In left field, it's Ryan Glidden. In center field, it's Hunter Glidden. And in right field, it's Carson Pimley. Here's a ground ball to short. Shively up with it onto first in time. And South Anchorage will leave the bases loaded in the 4th inning, but they do score a run on 2 base hits. They trail the Falcons 14-2. You've got Falcons baseball on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Introducing Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, your trusted partner in marketing and communication. We specialize in crafting compelling campaigns, eye-catching graphics, and impactful branding materials.
Smith Bates is like working with dependable friends. They always help us build our professional image.
Through the innovative strategies that the team at Smith Bates suggested, we've been able to give the brand at Calor the boost that it desperately needed.
Unlock your potential with Smith Bates Marcom Solutions.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends. Yeah! Be great.
Participate.
Connor Shively due to lead things off for the Klamath Falls Falcons in the bottom of the 4th inning, a game in which they lead the South Anchorage Wolverines 14-2 in game number 1 of the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. It's not only game 1 for the Falcons, this is the first game of the entire tournament, so thank you so much for being with us today. We've got plenty of more baseball on tap, not only just today here in Anchorage for all the rest of the teams, the 529 Midseason Classic. But, of course, the Falcons will continue play tomorrow, and they'll also have a game Saturday before the bracket games get played out on Sunday. We'll give you a bit of a preview of what that'll look like upcoming for Klamath Falls as Connor Shively gets ready to step in. Shively is 1 for 3 today. He flew out in the 1st and 3rd innings, but had an RBI single in the 2nd. Here's the pitch. Misses, catches the inside corner of the plate. The count is 0-1 to Shively. Shively, Takini, and then Takini. Jacoby, then Collin. 0-1 pitch on the way to Shively. That one misses outside, no question, 1-1. So after this game today, the Falcons don't have to come back until a 7:30 first pitch on Friday. That's 8:30 back in the Klamath Basin. They'll play the nightcap against Chugia tomorrow night as Shively rolls the ground ball out towards second. Zuspin is up with it. The throw on to first is in time, and there's one away in the bottom of the 4th inning. After the game on Friday night, Klamath Falls will play at 2:15 Alaska Daylight Time against Kenai. that'll actually be the second game of the day for Kenai. They actually open up Saturday against Chugiak at 11:45. So that game on Saturday, though, for the Falcons is the final game of group play at the 529 Midseason Classic as Jacoby Takini hits a hard grounder to third. A nice play by the third baseman Stanek, and a hard throw is in time. That was a great defensive play by Stanek at third, and Prokosky took him off the bag for a moment but was able to regather and get the out, the second out in the fourth inning. So depending on how the Falcons finish out today, tomorrow, and Saturday, that will decide where they play on Sunday. There is a fifth-place game, which is set to be played 11:45 on Sunday. That'll be between the third-best teams in each Pool A and Pool B. And then there is a semifinal where the top team from Pool A, which includes Service, Post 28, Madisonville, Diamond, and West Anchorage. So the first team out of that pool will play the second-best team from Pool B, which is Chugiak, our Falcons, Kenai, and South Anchorage. And then, of course, the second team from Group A will play the top team from Group B. Those teams will then meet in the championship game on Sunday night at 7:30. The Wolverines are making a change with 2 outs and the bases empty in the bottom of the fourth inning. We'll let you know who it is as we step aside briefly here on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com. The Klamath Falls Falcons lead South Anchorage 14-2.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 120,000 participants here in Oregon who take part in high school sports or activities.
At MyBasin.com, we bring you the power of local radio,
the pace and reach of social media,
the information of 24-hour news,
and the excitement of local sports.
We do this with a team of radio professionals that is second to none.
Klamath Falls is a community that we love and a place that we are proud to call home.
Klamath Falls deserves a media group that is as committed to you as you are to Klamath Falls.
MyBasin.com is your go-to place for news,
sports, events, and everything going on at home in Klamath Falls.
Getting set for the bottom of the 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth inning, and a new pitcher on the mound for South Anchorage is the left-hander Dean Walker. First pitch into Colin Takini will miss inside 1-0. Taking a look at Walker this season, this is his first appearance for South Anchorage this summer. Pitch on the way to Takini, misses down and in. Count now 2-0 to him. Walker is class of 28 for South Anchorage, stands 5'8" as he misses upstairs on the 2-0. The count now 3-0. Walker throws left, bats left. They got him listed as an outfielder on the official roster, but here he is on the mound with 2 outs in the fourth, and he will miss upstairs to Takini, and Colin is aboard with 2 outs in the fourth inning, bringing up P.J. Safford. Safford has reached base 3 times today. He's scored runs all 3 times, although he's without a base hit. He reached on an error at third base in the first inning. He walked in the second, and then in the third, he reached on an error, had an RBI in that at-bat as well. Here's the pitch. It's a slider that finds the inside corner. The count is 0-1 to P.J. Safford. Ian Meyer is on deck, I believe, for the Falcons. They had a pitching change and brought in a bunch of new guys for the Falcons, but I think they kept their designated hitter as that pitch misses in. The count is 1-1 to P.J. Safford. Modest lead off of first for Takini. He's not going to be going anywhere with 2 outs and a lead where it stands, as the pitch into Safford is hit the opposite way foul. The count is a ball and 2 strikes. Like I said, Safford's still looking for his first base hit of the day, but can't be too disappointed in his production overall. Has also made a couple of nice plays at third base. A couple of hot shots hit to him. He's able to react nicely He started all but 3 games at third base for the Falcons this summer. As Walker delivers the pitch, it slipped out of his hands and goes wild. It misses very outside. Takini will advance to second on the wild pitch, and the count is 2-2 to P.J. Safford. Well, Takini has scored in each of his first 2 trips around the bases, now in scoring position for the Falcons' third baseman. As Walker looks in, gets the sign from Berg, and delivers the pitch. It misses inside to Safford, and the count is full, 3-2. Due up in the next half inning for South Anchorage, for those curious, is Landon Gosser, Caleb Bonin, and Jack Zuspin. Pitch to Safford. Swung on and missed. Goes down on strikes. Might have been a changeup from Walker. Got Safford swinging to end the inning. The Falcons leave a base runner stranded, but no base hits in the 4th. They lead going to the top of the 5th inning, 14-2. Looking to close things out next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
We drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see 2 things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys, and I want to see my high school. And those are the 2 memories that stick out the most to me.
It is the top of the 5th inning. The Klamath Falls Falcons looking to close out their first win here in Anchorage as they lead 14-2 against South Anchorage. Due up this half inning for the Wolverines is Landon Gosser, Caleb Bonin, and Jack Zuspin. That's 2-3-4 against Max Price. Here's the first pitch from Price. It misses outside. The count is 1-0. We can give you the final unofficial line score on the Falcons starter, which was Hayden Poor. As that pitch is in the zone, strike 1, outside fastball. Poor pitched the first 3 2/3 innings for the Falcons as he gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. He walked 2 and struck out 4. The count now a ball and 2 strikes to Gosser, who's 0 for 2 today. And the pitch is fouled off. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Gosser struck out in the first and flew out in the third. Hayden Poor would be online for the win today should this lead hold as well for the Falcons. Pitch on the way. It is hit in the air, right center field, base hit. That's going to get down. Gosser takes a big turnaround first, but will stay there, and a leadoff base runner in the 5th for South Anchorage, as they would need to score 3 runs this half inning to extend the ball game. Anything less, and this one would be over via mercy rule. So nobody out in the inning. Here's Caleb Bonin. Bonin is also 0 for 2 today. He struck out in the first and flew out in the third. Getting his first look of the day, though, at Max Price, who comes set and delivers the pitch. It's an off-speed pitch that misses below the knees. The count is 1-0. Bonin batting third in the order. Like I said earlier, second leading hitter on the team at .367, but he actually leads the team in hits with 11. Here's a ground ball up the middle. Shively fields it. Underhand toss to Takini at second. Rifles it over to Hamilton at first, but it short hops him and gets by him. So runner is safe at first. Bonin reaching on the fielder's choice. Gosser is out. And there's 1 away. Runner remains at first for Jack Zuspin. Zuspin also 0 for 2, and he struck out in the first, flew out, but he flew out in the 4th inning for the South Anchorage Wolverines. Here's the delivery from Price. Finds the outside corner on the fastball. 0-1 to Zuspin. Stands 6'1", tall in the batting stance, too. Doesn't crouch down at all. Sends a ground ball out to Shively. Another chance to turn 2. On to Takini at 1, but they won't get him at all. As the ball bounced off the end of the glove for Takini. And both runners are safe. Now advancing into scoring position was Bonin. Zuspin aboard as well. This will bring up Mark Warren. Warren is 2 for 2 today. He singled in the second and fourth innings. And I believe they called a balk on Price, and so both runners will advance. Bonin to third. And advancing to second is Zuspin. Warren, now an RBI opportunity, awaits the first pitch from Price, grounded right back to Price. Throw on to first is in time, and they've got a runner caught in a rundown out there. They throw down to second, and they get him. Zuspin started running to third, but he had nowhere to go, and that will end the ball game. Curious mental error on the base paths is how the Falcons are able to secure victory in this one, 14-2, and a mercy rule after 5 innings. The Falcons grab a win in Game 1 of the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll give you the final line score for the Falcons, and we will get ready for the rest of the weekend at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. So stick with us. The Falcons are victorious in Game 1, 14-2 on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
The cars we drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see 2 things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys and I want to see my high school. And those are the 2 memories that stick out the most to me.
As a parent of a high school athlete, I've given up trying to get pictures of my kid playing sports. It's nearly impossible to take pictures and enjoy the game. There is a solution, though. God's Gifts Photography attends high school sporting events in the Basin to take individual and team action photos at a great price. Search God's Gifts 2 on Facebook to learn more. They'll come and capture your athlete in action, creating those frameable lifelong memories so you can watch and just enjoy the moment. Call 541-281-2206 to get your athlete on their schedule. God's Gifts Photography.
The Klamath Falls Falcons win their first game in the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic as they defeat South Anchorage 14-2. For the Falcons, 14 runs on 9 hits. They commit 2 errors, and they leave 6 runners on base. For South Anchorage, 2 runs on 6 hits. They commit 4 errors. They also leave 6 runners on base. The winning pitcher today is going to be Hayden Poor for the Klamath Falls Falcons, who pitched 3 2/3 innings, giving up 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. He walked 2 and struck out 4. The losing pitcher for South Anchorage today is Will Preston, who pitched the first inning and a third, giving up 7 hits, 9 runs. 6 of those were earned. He walked 2 and struck out 2. Couple of notables for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Well, we'll start with the player of the game as presented by Alaska 529 here at the Midseason Classic, Carson Sims, who finished 2 for 2 with 2 RBI, had a single and a double and a sacrifice fly. He was player of the game. Also collecting 2 hits on the day was Max Price, who finished 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Jacoby Takini was 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored and 2 RBI. Ian Meyer and Corbin Hamilton each finished 1 for 2 with 3 RBI as the Falcons go on towards victory. For the South Anchorage Wolverines, a 1-for-1 day for Evan Baldwin. He had 2 RBIs in the game. Other base hits, 2 for 3 day for Warren and Prokowski and Gosser each picking up base hits in the game for South Anchorage as they fall to 0-1 in the 5-9 Classic. So, Falcons off to a good first step. They will be back tomorrow evening as they will play Chugiak at 7:30 on Friday night. That 7:30 Alaska time would be 8:30 back home in the Basin. So we'll be live right about 8:20 on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com. Before we head off the air, I want to thank our tournament broadcast sponsors one more time, and that would be Heartfelt OBGYN and the Eisler Group in Klamath Falls. Big thanks to those folks for stepping up and getting us over here to Alaska to be able to bring you Falcons baseball the entire season with no breaks at all. And the Falcons making it worth our while so far after winning the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament Championship in Wasilla last night. They get off to a good start here in Anchorage at the 5-9 Midseason Classic, a 14-2 win against the South Anchorage Wolverines. Want to thank everybody here in Anchorage who's made it a good experience so far. All the folks working up here in the press box, and of course Van Williams, the Alliance Media Director, and runs AlaskaLegionBaseball.com for making sure I had a bunch of great information about this tournament before I even set foot in the 49th state. Big thanks to Van Williams as well as both head coaches today. Of course, Sean Teeters for the Klamath Falls Falcons, and for South Anchorage, their manager and head coach Terry Dannenbrink for talking with me a little bit before the game and getting me everything that I might have needed. Thank you as well for watching another edition of Klamath Falls Falcons Baseball. Like I said, we are back tomorrow evening, 7:30 here in Alaska, 8:30 back home in the Klamath Basin. Until then, my name is Josh Eldridge, saying so long and have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon. Signing off from Anchorage, Alaska.